Hello and howdy. So today we're going to be looking at a deck featuring Meowscarada EX. And I say featuring Meowscarada EX because we're also going to be playing it mainly as a Arceus variant. And the real reason that we're playing Arceus with Meowscarada is because of Starbirth. And also because Trinity Nova does a pretty good amount of damage. You know, with the double turbo energy on it, because double turbo, you know, applies to 2 colorless energy, but it makes you do 20 less damage on your attack. So Arceus is only hitting, you know, 180. It's not really getting a whole lot in the game. Even an example here, something with a very low amount of HP like Alolan Vulpix has like 190. So you're still pretty short on damage. But with Meowscarada, we can start to fix the numbers, but we can fix the math, and we can just use this ability as many times as we have Meowscaradas on the bench. And to help with getting damage where we want it, we have Radiant Alakazam, which lets you take 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon and put them onto another. So if we're hitting 180 with Arceus, we can use Meowscarada's ability, remove the damage with Radiant Alakazam, and put it onto something to do an effective 200 damage. Now, Meowscarada can also take the same benefit with just a single turbo energy, and it would do 220, so it would do 20 more damage than Arceus. So depending on like what you're attacking and how much damage you need to do left over, attacking with Arceus or attacking with Meowscarada would be better. Generally, I'll probably be attacking with Arceus first because, well, with Alakazam and Meowscarada, we could just fix the math later. We play stuff like Escape Rope, which just really flows really well in this deck. I would like to have 3, but I just couldn't fit it. And then we have Boss's Orders. So even if we don't finish the knockout and it's still in the active, we could just like Boss's Orders up the next thing we would want to be attacking, and then drop the 3 damage counters with Meowscarada and take the knockout like that. So in some scenarios, we could actually take out more than 1 Pokemon on a given turn, and I think this is where this deck really shines, is that it's just the stage 2 is a little awkward, but it's made less awkward with Arceus because we're almost guaranteed to always get our evolution off. We play some other consistency options like Bibarel here, and we play Colress' Experiment because sometimes we don't really want to be like professors researching like our rare candies and our energies and stuff like that. But we just don't really have a whole lot. Yeah, we only have the 3 rare candies in deck. Iono's here because Iono is just the best supporter in the game right now. And we do play 2 Professor's Research because sometimes we just have like a low hand size, and the tools we're going to be like getting rid of are like maybe like Nest Balls or like Level Balls. We just don't really need them anymore. So, but Professor's Research has its role in the deck. I'd like to have more Boss's Orders, but yeah, I just couldn't fit it. This deck's really tight for space. We got 8 Grass Energy and 4 Double Turbo, just to make sure that we can use this ability and get Arceus powered up for his first attack. We play 1 Super Rod, just in case we start losing Meowscaradas, or we need to get our Alakazam out of the discard pile, which we could Super Rod Nest Ball, get him back instantly, start using his ability again. Unless they lost Sidious, then, you know, well, can't really complain about that. So we also played 2 Mesagoza. To be honest, I really didn't know what stadium to play in this deck. I could see an argument being made that Artisan would be better in this deck, and that's a very valid option to put in. But honestly, I just kind of like Mesagoza because it can get our evolution Pokemon. Granted, it only works 50% of the time, but the fact that we could fish out Arceus V-Star or like Bibarel, it's really powerful because we don't have a whole lot of direct evolutionary search options. You know, the other one that we have, the Capturing Aroma, that's also a 50% chance to get our evolution. So having a stadium that we can use turn after turn, it just felt more efficient for the evolution lines. I wish there was a better way to search out evolution Pokemon, but there really isn't. Level Balls here, I mean, it'll only get you your stage 1, so we don't even really play a whole lot of the stage 1s in this deck. So yeah, I think that pretty much about covers it for the overview of this deck. We're going to go ahead and get into some games, and I'll meet you over there. Here we are with game 1 over here. From what I remember, it is a Arceus Firebox. We're just going to go ahead and just get some voiceover on these games. I always just find it a little awkward to, you know, talk over while I'm playing, because sometimes there's just like moments of just like awkward silentness, but with those moments that not a whole lot is going on, I can go ahead and more properly explain what we're going to be doing. So we're going to go ahead and lead with Arceus V here. We do have the V-Star in our hand, but we don't really have any way to get our basic Pokemon down, so we'll definitely need to go ahead and try to get that as soon as possible. We do have 2 grass in hand with an Energy Retrieval and an Escape Rope, which could come in handy. Let's go ahead and see what we're going to draw off the top of our deck for our first turn. Alright, we got 1 mulligan, and we got a Colress as experiment that can come out in handy. Alright, so we'll be able to use our Colress going on our first turn since we're going second. Now their Arceus can be a little scary because it will be able to 2-shot us, and they'll be the ones who'll be able to attack first. Alright. They're playing Ultra Ball. We should be chilling here. So they got the Rayquaza. I don't remember if they ever pull out the VMAX. So we got the Rare Candy. So now we just need the Sprigatito. Yeah, we went ahead and grabbed them, but we might need to go ahead and save the Bibarel just in case we get the Bidoof. Yeah, there we go. Just went ahead and just got the 3 Pokemon we really needed. It's a shame that we don't have the Bidoof there, but it's not the end of the world. Now, whenever you're playing Arceus V-Star, you really do need to try to get the first energy attachment down. If you whiff that your first turn, it's pretty much just game over. There's not a whole lot of energy acceleration in this deck. We don't play Gardena. Yeah, I was okay with sacrificing 1 Sprigatito. It might be a little awkward for them to even knock us out on their first turn, because they need a moment to set up. Oh, and they Path to Peek us. So unfortunately, Path to Peek does prevent our Starbirth ability. Now, it doesn't prevent something like Forest Seal Stone, which is a very similar ability to Arceus V-Stars. I think that has to do with that technically the tool has the ability, so it's not on a Rulebox Pokemon, it's just a Rulebox Pokemon using that tool. Very weird ruling. So I guess if you're like super worried about being Path to the Peak, I guess maybe not play Arceus V-Star, maybe play a different V Pokemon for support. The only other like good Grass V and V-Star Pokemon I can really think of would be Leafeon. Now, I would be interested to see a Meowscarada and Leafeon V-Star deck. I think that could be an interesting idea. We're going to go ahead and evolve 1 of our Sprigatitos into a Floragato. Yeah, see there? We couldn't use Starbirth. So we didn't really have much of a way to do anything. We're going to keep the energy in hand just in case that whenever we do get everything up and rolling, we can still use the grass energy for Meowscarada's ability. We just said go ahead and pass. I know that they won't be able to one-shot us with the Arceus V-Star, and I don't think they would have enough energy on Rayquaza, even if they V-maxed, to get the knockout, because 280 is definitely a lot of HP. And they went ahead and replaced their Path to the Peak, because I'm going to assume they're going to use, yeah, they need to use their own Starbirth. So they probably routed that a little wrong. I guess their idea was to prevent me from using Starbirth when I did. Yeah, that might have been a better play, actually. Play it down past the peak as early as you could to prevent me from using it. they go. Now I think they would have enough energy on Rayquaza VMAX to knock out Arceus VSTAR. But Rayquaza V itself actually has a cap on how much damage it can do, I believe. I think you can only discard a certain number of energy from it. We got Iono here. It's a shame that we lose the Rare Candy and the Bibarel, but we end up drawing into some search options and a Professor's Research with a Meowscarada. So now we can just go ahead and use Starbirth. We took a look at the Heatran over there, and what Heatran does is that it does more damage based on how many damage counters it has on it. So Magma Basin will place damage onto your bench Pokemon whenever they accelerate fire energy. So it could be an interesting late game option. And we definitely don't want to be really using our ability into the Radiant Heatran, because if we're just shy and it comes in, it could just knock out anything we want. But what we can do is we can prevent it from getting any damage on it with our Radiant Alakazam, which we unfortunately do not have in our deck, as I am definitely looking for it. We didn't pull out a Manaphy because they didn't really have any spread options, at least that I knew of. I don't think there's many fire decks with a whole lot of spread. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and use the Ultra Ball just to go ahead and get our Bibarel. We want to try to get everything out of our deck that we need with the cards we have in our hand, and then use Starbirth. We got the double turbo, and now we can just go ahead and use Industrial Incisors before our Professor's Research, just to see if there's anything else we can get off the Bibarel. I largely don't like the hand that I have, but we can go ahead and keep it. There's enough pieces here that are good. So we're going to go ahead and use Meowscarada's ability, tag the Rayquaza. Our Alakazam was prized. Our Arceus is going to go down eventually. And what we can do is go ahead and pull out a Boss's Orders, Rare Candy, okay, so we're going to go ahead and Rare Candy our other Meowscarada into play Boss's Orders on the Rayquaza we damaged, and since we placed damage counters on with Meowscarada, the 180 will do enough to take the knockout. I was really scared of them getting the VMAX out, so I wanted to go ahead and try to take the knockout as early as possible. Thankfully, Rayquaza only has 210 HP and not 220. If it had 220, then we probably just would have had to have attacked into the Arceus just to try to get damage on it. We placed it down on a second Arceus. I'm not really sure why though. I guess they could go ahead and get it powered up for next turn. Yeah, see, there they go with the Magma Basin on to the Heatran. And in this situation, I'm actually kind of hoping that they knock out my Arceus VSTAR so I can play my Radiant Alakazam that I got from my prize cards. So then I can start removing the damage counter that they're putting on the Heatran to try to like deny them from doing any damage with it. I really don't want a single prize Pokemon being able to knock out my Meowscaradas, because it's a decent amount of work to get those set up, and they're kind of like the core strategy of the deck. Alrighty, so they went in and used Trading Nova on our Arceus, getting the 2-shot on there, and they did place down another Rayquaza. Yeah, there they go. They're powering it up. Arceus can fix its awkward energy situation, because then it can accelerate any type of energy from the deck to a V Pokemon. We got the double turbo in hand, so we're just going to go ahead and promote Meowscarada. Now, Arceus does have a good number of HP. We just like physically would not be able to knock out the active with our damage output. Got the heads on the Mesagoza, so we're going to go ahead and evolve our other Bidoof into a Bibarel. place down the double turbo onto our active Meowscarada, get the Radiant Alakazam going, and we're going to go ahead and Industrial Incisors just to see if we can get some more stuff from our deck. And we did pull a Grass Energy. Now we can start spreading some damage onto the bench for later turns. I was really looking for some kind of gusting option like Escape Rope, because we've already used our other bosses, because we only have one in deck, and this is where it kind of gets a little awkward because I don't play PAL Pad and I don't play another boss's order, so we only really get our gusting option once per game. And I was thinking kind of where I needed to put the damage at. I was thinking Lumineon because maybe, I don't know. I probably should have put it on the Rayquaza, like looking back on it. I think putting it on the Rayquaza would have been better, just because we're just really scared of its VMAX. There we go, got the Energy Retrieval off that, so we can go ahead and use our other Meowscarada's ability to place down damage on the field. Pull 2 of them out. Got some more ammo. And then I believe we are actually going to place down the damage counter on the Arceus. Oh, we do the Arceus. Okay. I think we're wanting to see, because they did seem like they're wanting to lead with Arceus. We did get the Escape Rope, so we can still gust something. We're going to take the damage off the Radiant, putting it onto the active Arceus V-Star. Go ahead and play Iono, which is effectively going to be a judge this turn because we're both down to 4 prize cards left. And we're just going to go ahead and attack Arceus V-Star. They can't one-shot us back, so either they retreat and go onto the bench and bring up something else that's vulnerable. Because either way, we're going to get the Arceus V-Star. I see. So they can attack into us, do 180. We live it, and then we can revenge knock them out, or we can find them on the bench and use our abilities again to confirm the knockout. We prevented them from retreating into the Radiant Heatran and getting the knockout with it, because just with 2 damage counters on it, it wouldn't do enough to knock us out, even with weakness. The boss's orders are Radiant Alakazam. They really don't want us moving the damage because they don't like me healing their Radiant Heatran. So there you go. They didn't really fix the problem though, because I still have 2 Meowscaradas that can use their abilities and spread damage. So getting rid of the Radiant Alakazam is beneficial for them, but I'm still going to go ahead and take the prize lead here. Yeah, there we go. We got Super Rod. So we're just going to go ahead and just shuffle it right back in the deck. Yeah, just with some energy too. Can use Mesagoza to try to get another Meowscarada, because we do have a Rare Candy. We fail it. Gonna go ahead and we got a Nest Ball off the Industrious Incisor, so we can just go ahead and just fish Radiant Alakazam right back from the deck. Now, if I had some Grass Energy in my hand, I would definitely say Escape Rope, use 2 abilities, and Radiant Alakazam to go ahead and finish up the knockout. There we go. I start moving damage over to the Rayquaza. Scared of its VMAX to actually get it out, because it does have a good amount of HP. Industrious Incisors for 1. Got the Professor. Yeah, we're just going to have to go ahead and rip it. We need Grass Energy, or some way to get it. And we got 2 right off the bat. Don't have the Rare Candy anymore for the Meowscarada, unfortunately, but we're going to go ahead and clean up the prize race here. So it wasn't too big of a deal to lose our last Meowscarada option. I think I think there's still 1 in deck. in this match, but I could be wrong. There we go, just making sure we get enough damage on there in case they want to try to block with the VMAX. Take 2 prizes off the Arceus V-Star, got another Meowscarada. I don't think we have any Floragatos or Rare Candies left in deck, so it doesn't really matter. They send up the Rayquaza V, and here's when I was expecting them to actually put the VMAX into play, but I think they kind of saw that I came prepared to go ahead and snipe them. They're going to Iono us down to 2, but it doesn't matter. We got 2 Bibarels on our bench, so I mean, Iono me all you want. He never got down he never took down my Bibarels. Arceus V-Star comes into play. They flip tails on the Mesagoza, and I don't think they have another way to get the Rayquaza VMAX. They just benched Delphox V because I guess they don't have anything else left to play. Double Turbo on the Heatran. They never got any damage counters on it again. I think they just forgot to Magma Basin. Yeah. They do 180. Not enough to knock us out. And then we could just go ahead and just straight attack them and win the game. So a pretty clean match. We definitely showed a lot of the tricks, what Meowscarada can do comboed with Arceus. I'm not really sure what our opponent really could have done there in that situation. I guess maybe get the Rayquaza VMAX out, but alright, let's go ahead and get into the next game. Alrighty, here we go with game 2. This one will be a Tinkaton EX, and they probably really don't like us playing a whole lot of Iono. We do play 3 Iono in deck, and Tinkaton EX's whole shtick is that it does more damage based on how many cards they have in their hand at that current time that they will be attacking. So our main goal will be to Iono them as much as humanly possible. Now, Tinkaton decks usually do play a tricky card in Milotic that has a effect that basically prevents Judge and Iono from working. It prevents supporters that affect your hand. We led with Arceus V-Star. We do have the double turbo in hand and a Colress experiment, and we also have the Iono in hand too. Perfect timing, but we are largely missing a lot of our basic Pokemon. We didn't get anything else besides the Arceus V. Now we can play slow and steady to secure the victory, because Tinkaton does take a while to get set up. It is a stage 2 deck, and also really needs to work on getting its hand built up while trying to prevent us from disrupting their hand. There they go, they placed the Feebas down. Now the Manaphy does not protect from Meowscarada because it's an ability that places like damage counters, so it actually doesn't protect. Went ahead and used Colress experiment, just needed to go ahead and get some more stuff down. We benched another Arceus just in case we can just finish the game off with just using Arceus as an attacker, or maybe they knock out my first Arceus V so that we can always make sure that we can just guarantee the Starbirth. I would have liked to get another Sprigatito or at least a Bidoof, but unfortunately the Colress just did not draw it for us. Here they are with a pretty tremendous hand size already at 11, and they go ahead and get their Milotic up, which now means I can't Iono them to disrupt their hand. But I did get an Escape Rope. I have Rare Candy and Meowscarada in hand, so what I could do is Rare Candy, and now all we really need to do is try to get a Grass Energy. So we got the Ultra Ball, got a Bidoof, and an Energy Retrieval. Now we need to go ahead and get some of the last pieces of our deck. Now the Ultra Ball can go ahead and get us the Arceus V-STAR, and Arceus V-STAR will let us to get the remaining cards we are missing to really try to snuff out this Milotic as fast as we can. Got the Arceus V-STAR. We're going to go ahead and evolve our Arceus V into the Arceus V-STAR and use its Starburst ability. So in this situation, I need to knock out the Milotic now. So how am I going to go about doing that? So I'm going to have to go ahead and definitely pull out a Grass Energy from my deck and play the Escape Rope, which means I also need a double Turbo Energy on my Meowscarada so it can attack. We'll have to use Meowscarada's abilities first because it does not affect active Pokemon. Here we go, got the Grass, got the double Turbo. Thinking it over, definitely that's the route I wanted to play. Use the ability, tag the Milotic, and now we're going to go ahead and Escape Rope, and that guarantees the Milotic coming into the active because they didn't have any other bench Pokemon. There we go, and scratching nails. So now next turn we can go ahead and Iono them. They would not be able to get another Milotic in time. And they don't have any Tinkatons or anything in play either, so it seems like they had a pretty slow start like us. But we started getting our pieces a lot better, all thanks to the magic of Arceus V-STAR. There they go, now they got their Tinkatinks. Manaphy is still just sitting there. I mean, we could attack it if we want, but what I kind of wish would happen is that we had another Meowscarada in play, because as soon as they put down a Tinkaton, or a Tinkatink, I probably should have said no there, but I didn't really care. I was going to Iono them next turn anyways. I wanted more cards. There they go. They got another Feebas. Now, the Manaphy does not protect the Feebas. I think they benched it because they didn't think that I could damage it, but I could. I got another Sprigatito. I'm gonna play Nest Ball. Yeah, I'll probably just get Alakazam. There's no Alakazam in deck. Seems to be always prized. Usually, man, like what if Radiant Greninja was always prized in Lost Box? Wouldn't that just be amazing? But unfortunately for the Meowscarada deck, it seems like we have to earn the Alakazam. We can't just get it for free. We gotta take some prize cards before we can start using it. We flip tails on Mesagoza, so it seems like luck is just not going our way, but neither is for our opponent. Yeah, we just went ahead and bossed the Tinkatink. We just didn't have any Grass Energy. I guess we could have probably gotten it off the Iono. Maybe that would have been better, but if they don't have Tinkatinks, then they can't evolve. And I didn't have any of my Meowscaradas to fish on it. And I really did not want them to Rare Candy into a Tinkaton, which has like 300 HP or something. And that's a lot harder for us to retaliate against. And they placed down the dreadful Radiant Jirachi. Radiant Jirachi has an attack for a 2 colorless. Flip 2 coins. If both of them are heads, the opposing Pokemon is knocked out. So it can basically just knock us out no matter how much HP we have, if it manages to get heads. Scary, definitely. It definitely is scary, because what if they just get lucky and they just get it? And yeah. It also is kind of annoying to attack into, because while it has 90 HP, it also has a grass weakness. So yeah, there's just no way that we could. Yeah, we only do 50 damage to it. So even like moving with Alakazam, we wouldn't be able to knock it out. We just go ahead and use our ability and knock out the Feebas, just a free prize. Try Mesagoza, maybe we could get the Bibarel. We flip tails again. Incredible. We got some energy in the discard pile, so might as well go ahead and try to get those resources back. Maybe? No? Okay, I guess we're going to go ahead and Iono. There we go. We've already used the ability. Didn't have another way to get another Meowscarada in play. Didn't have a way to one-shot Radiant Jirachi, and if I knock it out, they get more cards. It lets you, whenever Radiant Jirachi is knocked out, I think they get to look for their deck for like 2 or 3 cards, and put them into their hand. So they just increase their hand size even more. So I just escape roped and just wanted to try to take another prize. Got another Mesagoza. Not the best prize we could have gotten, but it is a prize card. Now, Rotom has just enough HP that we cannot knock it out with Trinity Nova, and Meowscarada wouldn't be able to knock it out because it has no damage counters on it and it's in the active slot. But we can definitely fish for it on the bench, and I get another miss on the Mesagoza. So Mesagoza is just really not working. We go ahead and do 180 to Rotom, just shy of a knockout, but we're doing pretty good for right now. They have all their prize cards remaining, and we only need to take 2. So if they don't do anything about this Rotom V, it's just a matter of time before I get my ability off and snipe it. But also, sadly, it seems like we just have not been able to get our Alakazam from our prize cards. We're down to 2 and did not draw it. We drew Mesagoza. Imagine if we drew Radiant Alakazam off our prizes. That would have been a lot better. They go ahead and Rare Candy into a Tinkaton, but I was thinking now that they only had 7 cards in hand, they would not be able to one-shot Arceus. And if we just do damage with Tinkaton, we could just come in with Meowscarada and knock it out anyways. If they somehow like remove the Rotom from play, it still wasn't. We would still like be in an advantage. Gonna try Mesagoza one more time. All right, we got it. It only took 4 times, and we got the Bibarel now. I'm gonna go ahead and put Bibarel into play and just attach Double Turbo just to something. We don't really need it in our hand. We just want to try to draw more cards. Well, we didn't really get anything. We would have loved a Grass Energy. A Grass Energy would have been really, really cool, but we unfortunately didn't get it. So we're just gonna have to tack into the Tinkaton and try to knock it out later. Maybe next turn we can get the Grass Energy. Maybe. But looks like they're just gonna have to decide on what they really want to do here. They fail the Mesagoza. They can attack into us, but they won't be able to one-shot us. I only have 120 HP left. Yeah, they do 190 with 7 cards in hand. And here we go. We could just literally just click Trinity Nova again and just get the knockout. We still didn't even get the grass, which is kind of funny. So yeah, we cut down their strategy pretty quickly. We didn't let them have their Milotics, and we didn't really let them get their basics out due to boss's orders and just kind of like using Meowscarada's ability. So we can kind of shut down other evolving decks pretty quickly with Meowscarada, and I just kind of really like doing that. I really just like cutting down other evolution decks. Alrighty, so we'll go ahead and get into the next game now. See you there. Alrighty, last game of the day. It's going to be against Wu Chen. I really don't think Wu Chen is quite a very good archetype. I think it's definitely funny with the whole Fortress accelerate energy by blowing itself up and then sniping for damage based on how many prize cards your opponents have taken. But I just don't think it does enough damage early. Like, sure, you can like snipe like 240 like pretty early on, but what if they have Manaphy? Like, what would you do? Like, you realistically, your entire strategy is cut down by a very commonly played card. And not only that, they only have to knock you back if you detonated 2 Fortress. They'd only have to knock out your 1 Wu-Chin. Now, granted, you're a grass deck and you're a pretty bulky basic EX Pokemon. So you can definitely tank, but I just don't think there's enough healing options to fully sustain yourself. And you're not an evolution Pokemon, so Cheryl can't even save you there. And you're not a normal Pokemon either. There's that one card that like lets you take up like a normal Pokemon, put it back into your hand. I forgot who's on the card, but I remember it being in the game. Now Klefki's here in the active. It is preventing our basic Pokemon from having abilities. But Arceus is going to be a V-Star Pokemon, so our ability is on the V-Star. So it's not really going to shut us down. Yeah, pretty much none of our Pokemon that have abilities are basic. Yeah, there we go. Could already use Industrious Incisors. Now we just need to go ahead and get the V-Star. I don't know why the player is still up. Go down. There we go. Yeah, I was going to sacrifice our regular Arceus V and the Iono. I didn't really see much of a use with Iono. Sure, I guess they're going to be putting themselves down on prizes. So I guess maybe keeping it would have been good. But I just had the double turbo and I was scared of getting rid of it. So I wanted to keep Colress Experiment. Got the Meowscarada, got an Energy Retrieval, and got an Ultra Ball. Gonna go ahead and use Starbirth. Gonna grab a Rare Candy and probably a Grass. Already use our supporter for other turns, so we can't really boss his orders, so Wu-Chin. Yeah, we'd probably definitely have to pull out a Grass here. Just to activate the ability. Little indecisive here about what I wanted to grab. I ended up grabbing a Nest Ball instead. It's got 230. Can't one-shot with Meowscarada just yet. Wanted to get Manaphy. Okay, that's what I was worried about. I was worried about Wu-Chin sniping my bench, so I wanted to get the Manaphy over the Energy. I felt like it was more important at the time. Got a prize card. Professor's Research. Okay, good timing that we got the Professor's Research, because then we can use the double turbo energy on our Meowscarada, and then we can just like, don't really care about the Energy Retrieval and Ultra Ball in our hand. We already got like pretty much everything we really wanted. They've yet to use a Fortress to explode to accelerate energy. And that would put us down to 3 prize cards. Iono. Didn't really get a whole lot of good tools off that. We did get a Grass Energy. We have a Nest Ball, so we could go ahead and get the Radiant Alakazam. It's a pretty nice looking Fortress EX. I actually really like the full art on it. So it's very strange to me that Fortress is a bug Pokemon, considering it evolved from like a pine cone. But I think it's like based on like a bug that kind of like looks like a pine cone. Why it turns into a red clamshell thing with eyes and cannons, I couldn't really tell you. That also is known to explode. Very, very strange Pokemon. Gen 2 was something a little different back then. Nest Ball, I think we're going to go ahead and grab the Radiant Alakazam. Use Meowscarada's ability. Gonna go ahead and try to put some damage on the Wu-Chan because they did put down the Bravery Charm, which makes it quite bulky. It's sitting at 280. That's V-Star level for just being a basic EX Pokemon. Don't really have a whole lot left to play in our hands. We're just gonna go ahead and use Industrious Incisors. Grab 2 Iono. They're sitting at 6 prizes. We're sitting at 5. So might not be super important to get it. Gotta go ahead and discard some stuff from our hand. Don't really have anything we want to grab from deck. Just kind of thinning resources at this point. I decided on playing Iono anyways because I just needed some more tools. Already used Bibarel. I do have Grass Energy, but I don't have another way to get another Meowscarada in play to use the Grass Energy. But it's good that we have it. Got some damage on the Fortress. They might have just exploded anyways, but I figured just damaging it and maybe finishing it off later in case they choose not to explode for some reason. I just didn't really have a whole lot of options left to do that turn, so I just figured just attack it. Right, they're gonna go ahead and switch into their Radiant Serena. I'm assuming it's because with the Bravery Charm it has 190 HP and Arceus only hits for 180, so it would just barely survive. And them having the Radiant Serena is a little annoying because it's gonna be healing 20 damage from each of the Pokemon every turn. So it kind of puts a damper on my spreading abilities. But them putting it up into the active does leave it vulnerable for us to knock it out with Meowscarada, and then there goes our healing option. They placed down Calamitous Wasteland over our Mesagoza. Not too bad because a lot of our Pokemon are evolution Pokemon with low retreat. You know, both Arceus and Meowscarada just retreat for their double colorless. That's basically just one attachment for us. They go ahead and place Judge. I actually do not mind being Judge. We didn't have the best hand. We still got the boss's orders. They shuffled our hand that had our only boss's orders in deck and then gave it right back to us. So can you really complain on that one? So we have 2 rare candies. I'm gonna go ahead and just use our ability real quick, just to put some more damage out on the field. Going to go ahead and move the damage over to the Serena. Now we can go ahead and just finish it off with Arceus V-Star because we'll do enough damage now. Yeah, we're just going to hold the bosses. We just want to get rid of the Serena because it's healing. Have enough. We have 4 cards in hand. Just might as well just get another card off Bibarel while we have it. Got the double turbo. And we can go ahead and Trinity Nova for 180 and do 10 more damage than we needed to do for the knockout. And that's why Alakazam is really important in this deck. It really fixes a lot of the math on the active Pokemon. Just make sure that we can finish off the damage because Arceus doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. 200 just like is not enough these days, especially when it gets reduced in damage with the double turbo, so it makes it do even less with 180. And that's why Meowscarada and Alakazam are really good partners for Arceus V-STAR, because it actually makes it more into a competent attacker, makes it able to not only be efficient with its ability, but also be able to clean up some knockouts too. Maybe a Arceus with Inteleon would be a good option as well. It would fill a very similar role. Maybe I could try building that one out, an Inteleon deck that plays Arceus. That seems kind of fun. Maybe have Rapid Strike Urshifu in there too. Be a interesting idea to play. Might be a little bloated with the Arceus and the Urshifu and like the auxiliaries and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe you wouldn't want to play Arceus in that kind of deck. Might just want to play the auxiliaries over it. So they went ahead and gusted our Manaphy into the Activid and trapped us with Tarantulas. Bind down attack, but we have the boss's orders. And our Meowscarada does 30 to a bench Pokemon, and Alakazam can move 20 over. So 30 plus 20 is 50. So if you play it right, we can take 3 prizes in 1 turn. We just need to go ahead and try to get a switch. Let's go ahead and set up the knockout on the Tarantula just to see what the prize card we'll get off it. Alright, take the knockout, clean knockout from bench. Take the 1 prize. Got a Floragato, not really something we need. Just go ahead and Ultra Ball our hand away just so we draw more off Industrious Incisors. Don't grab anything, don't really need it, just need to draw cards. Alright, we got the Escape Rope. Now pretty much anything they send up will get knocked out, but I guess we could Mesagoza and manually retreat. But I don't think we're actually going to go for that play. Yeah, I think we just go ahead and put damage on the Wo-Chien. Won't be enough to knock out this turn on either Wo-Chien, but I basically set it up that no matter who they send up, I'm pretty much going to knock out eventually. I'll have the tools in order to get the knockout. Meowscarada just did more damage than Arceus. Yeah, there we go. 200. Now, if I had a way to remove their tool, we could, like, if we had Lost Vacuum in here, yeah, we could have just knocked them out like that, just remove their tool and get the knockout that way. I think they saw the writing on the wall there that I had plenty of options to go ahead and knock them out from the bench or gust them and disrupt them like that, so they went ahead and conceded. They could see that I was already in the lead. They never even got to use their Fortress. So that was a pretty clean last game. So that was Meowscarada EX. My final thoughts on this deck is that it's pretty fun to play. Now, is it a very serious, like, competitive deck? I don't know. Like, it's a little awkward. Sure, the Arceus, like, helps out, but sometimes it's just not fast or aggressive enough, and it's really, really shut down by Path of the Peak. You just can't do, like, anything with this deck without Path of the Peak, like, with Path of the Peak up. Radiant Alakazam doesn't work, Starbirth doesn't work, Meowscarada's ability doesn't work. Just the fact that like one card completely like shuts down your entire strategy just is not a very positive thing to have going for your deck. Now, we were just talking about Wo-Chien, on how Wo-Chien gets like completely shut down by one card. So it's kind of the same scenario there, is that just like a really commonly played card is Path of the Peak, and it will continue to be played until it's rotated out, which probably won't be until next year. Maybe in the future, could Meowscarada be a pretty good deck? I think maybe. I believe the Kirlia that's making Gardevoir really strong will eventually rotate out. I don't remember if it came out in the Legend of Arceus sets or if it came out in the Battle Style sets. I guess we could go ahead and take a look at that card. Kirlia. Let's see. Ooh, Regulation F. Yeah, so it seems like Gardevoir will be pretty prominent for a long time. And I was not able to get into a match with Gardevoir, Meowscarada versus Gardevoir, so I really don't know how that would go. I would assume it could go pretty favorably for you because of how Gardevoir works. Because it likes to spread damage counters to its own Pokemon as a cost of accelerating energy. Now, they might just be too fast and too strong for Meowscarada to really get going in order to do that. But I could see theoretically how Meowscarada could actually do pretty good against Gardevoir, because the more damage counters and more damage you're spreading around the board prevents them from getting more energy on their Pokemon. So I suppose it could be a fair matchup against Gardevoir, which is currently the best deck in the game right now. So Meowscarada is all right. It should on paper be a really strong deck. You know, it snipes the board, does good damage by attacking, but it just doesn't really kind of work out as well as you would expect. So here's hoping that Meowscarada does get some much needed support down in the future. As it is now, it's definitely just a casual deck. So very fun. I had a blast playing it. So I guess, you know, try it out. It's pretty accessible. I think there's going to be that League Battle deck or that weird EX deck, I forgot what they're called, that comes out with Meowscarada. So should be a pretty relatively easy deck to get hands on, both online and physical. So, all right, well, let me know what you thought of the deck. Is there any improvements or anything that you would tweak on it? And also let me know if there's any specific decks you would like me to cover or like showcase or anything like that. Definitely down to hear it. I read every comment and I try to respond and get back to everyone that I can. So see you down in the comment section. Alrighty, have a good day, night, evening, or whatever. Bye.